We're at the start of week 2, which is about stress and reduction. We'll look at the physical, bodily movements that underlie stress and reduction and say how we can teach them. Stress is one of the ways that syllables are made more prominent in English, and reduction is a way of making a syllable less prominent. This introductory video places these two mechanisms into the wider context of all the prominence mechanisms used by speakers of English. We know that spoken language is made up of strings of syllables, and all languages have ways of making a given syllable either more prominent than its neighbours or less prominent. A prominent syllable stands out more, for example if it's louder or longer than normal, or if it has a pitch change on it, or if it is said particularly clearly. In English, a less prominent syllable will tend to disappear into the background. It will be less distinct and harder to hear. It may even disappear entirely. Let's start by looking at the big picture of prominence, taking a comprehensive, exhaustive view. This diagram shows the complete system for English. It distinguishes 5 possible levels of prominence for a syllable, from the lowest level of prominence at the top left, marked with a 1, to the highest level at the bottom right, marked 5. At first glance, it looks complicated, but we'll see that there are bodily movements underlying everything that is above the green dashed line. These are the parts of the system that your students are likely to struggle with, but we'll show you that they are teachable and we'll show you how to teach them. For the part of the diagram that is below the green line, your students will be able to transfer their knowledge of prominence mechanisms from their first language. We won't deal with these areas in this EVO session. Let's go through the diagram line by line. First of all, a reduced syllable contains a schwa or another member of a schwa family. This is the lowest level of prominence possible. For example, the first syllable of the word about or the last syllable of the word nation are both reduced syllables. Alternatively, a syllable will contain a full vowel, i.e. a properly articulated vowel which can be clearly identified. If a syllable contains such a vowel, it can be either unstressed or stressed. An unstressed syllable containing a full vowel has the second level of prominence. For example, take the second syllable of keyboard. Key contains a full vowel and is stressed, but board contains a full vowel and is not stressed. Here are some other examples of full but unstressed syllables in the words on the screen. A stressed syllable is more prominent than an unstressed one, and the next video this week is about what native speakers do in order to stress a syllable. In this session, we won't go below the green dashed line. We'll be looking at how to produce what is above it: reduced syllables, syllables with full but unstressed vowels in them, and stressed syllables. However, for completeness, let me briefly describe the rest of the diagram. The word accented here is being used in its technical sense. It's not the same as the verb to accentuate, and it's not the sense of the word accent which is used in phrases like he's got a foreign accent or she's got a Boston accent. Instead, accented means that the syllable has a pitch change on it. Stressed but unaccented syllables, syllables with no pitch change on them, are typically found after the nucleus in a phrase, that is, after the syllable that contains the major pitch change. So in a sentence like that said by Cinderella's fairy godmother, "You shall go to the ball tonight," the 3 syllables go, ball and night all have a rhythmic stress on them but no pitch change. So they're stressed but unaccented. Level 3 in the diagram. Another example, but this time preceding the nucleus, can be found in the sentence, "and that's what we want to find out." That has a pre-nuclear high pitch level, i.e. it's level 4. But the 3 words what, want and find all have some rhythmic stress prominence in the lead up to the word out, which has the nuclear pitch change on it. Those 3 words are all at level 3. The other 2 types of stressed syllables are both accented, but they're not dealt with in this EVO session and are not major pronunciation problems from a production point of view, since any student's first language is likely to have a prominence mechanism like them, i.e. prominence being marked by a pitch change. Conventionally, students are asked to learn English pronunciation by listening to it and then copying what they hear. This week, we introduce the single most important idea that runs throughout this session, that the key to success in our teaching is not to take this conventional approach. Instead, we need to understand the physical actions made with the body that underlie production, and then we have to teach them directly, as the motor skills that they certainly are. This means that we have to examine the physical actions that native speakers use to create stress and reduction, to create a more prominent syllable or a less prominent one. The next two videos do this for stress, and the two after that do it for reduction. The stress and reduction mechanisms of English are quite unusual. If your students can master them, then this will make them much more intelligible. It will also help their listening, because they will expect to hear the things that native speakers do actually say.